Jai Hind, everyone. Okay. So I have a habit of speaking Jai Hind because I've been part of the army. I've also been part of the intelligence bureau. So the operations you probably must have seen, probably in the family man, everything. Nothing of this happens in the IB. And I've worked with the senior most IPS officers, senior most IS officers, mostly with the IPS officers. And when I was preparing for civil services, though many of you first choice would be IAS, my first choice was Indian Police Services. I came from the army background, so I had, a lot of focus towards the uniform. I was always attracted towards it. My father was a naval officer, so I had joined the army after clearing the CDS examination. I've cracked all my examinations, all interviews in first attempt. When it comes to international relations, internal security, these are kind of areas which I really like. I've been following them for a quite long period of time. When it comes to international relations, internal security, from the perspective of what happens on the ground, I can give you a lot of insights into that, but not the operational details, how actually operations happen, how Indian police services, what happens in Jammu and Kashmir, how actual operations happens. But today, our scope of our lecture is not operations, it's not internal security, it's Bangladesh crisis. Everyone is aware of the Bangladesh crisis? Okay. So in 2013, there was a major crisis. It was called Shahbag Square protest. And a direct mains question came. The crisis happened around in February. The question came in the mains. Anybody can tell me, what is Shahbag Square protest? Anybody? Around 3 to 4 questions related to Bangladesh have already come in the mains. So why was Shahbag Square protest asked in 2013? And if that question was asked in 2013, there's a high probability, mains question can be asked this year or next year. Anyone? If you understand Shahbag Square protest, you will also understand the 2024 crisis. There are a lot of similarities in those protests. Okay, is this the first time coup happened in Bangladesh? No, this is not the first time. The country was formed on blood, sweat, and tears. The country was formed on revolution. And still, the same thing is being repeated. Many of the students which are studying Bangladesh crisis for the first time, you might feel that this crisis is happening first time. But if you go back in the history of Bangladesh, it is being made on blood, sweat, and tears. Have you heard these words, blood, sweat, and tears? Okay. Have you heard about Operation Searchlight? Anyone? Operation Jackpot? Searchlight, please tell. You're right. Okay. Anyone heard about razakars? Okay, so razakar is a word. If you say to any Bangladeshi that you are a razakar, the blood will boil in that Bangladeshi. Why razakar is such a hated word? This is one of the most important word after the protest became violent in nature. Before using of this word by the ex-Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, the protest was not violent. Why was this word Razakar? Anybody? You've heard of anybody from Hyderabad? Anybody heard of Razakar? Okay, anybody? You can try. Please try. Please try. Yes. Yes, it's called a traitor. In a very simple language. You had the same answer? Okay. So the protests were happening. We'll come to all these details later on. I'm just trying to, ignite some insight in you. Okay. So if you tell someone, it's something like I'm telling him that he's anti-Indian or he's pro-Pakistani, and today on the basis of different ideologies, whichever government you're following, we are branded, right? You're a Bhakt, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, on the basis of that. When this protest was happening, Sheikh Hasina said that these students who are protesting are razakars. And the protest became violent in nature. Because you told all these students, what are these? They are traitors. So would you like if the Prime Minister of the country tomorrow say you're fighting that the lateral entry in civil services is coming? Okay, and you start fighting, no, there shouldn't be any lateral entry. there has to be an examination the same way we give civil services, and you say there shouldn't be lateral entry for joint commissioners and all these things. And if the Prime Minister Modi says that you are a razakar or you're a traitor, do you like it? The demonstration was happening for 30% quota. We'll understand what is this entire quota system. What was the entire point of having this quota system? So in Bangladesh, they gave 30% of quota to the people who were fighting for the freedom of Bangladesh. Then it was later on given to their children. Then it was later on given to their grandchildren. And all the other students who were not coming from the freedom families, they started protesting, because if you combine all the reservation in Bangladesh, it comes to a number of 56%. Economy is not quite booming. It basically depends upon the textile sector, and textile and the garment sector also took a huge amount of hit. Can you anybody tell me when was the time that the garment sector was growing in Bangladesh, but it took a major hit and it encapsulated into a lot of unemployment? Anyone? If you're not able to answer, it's fine. We'll be going detail in the lecture. You understand right now. I'm just throwing the questions. Anyone? Which is the biggest sector which contributes to the GDP of Bangladesh? Textile. So textile was growing before COVID. In COVID, the textile industry tanked. Basically, tank means it went down, and the unemployment started rising. So unemployment is rising, and say you're not a freedom fighter or coming from there, and I'm saying I'm increasing the reservation. So a lot of families which are not coming from the reservation families will start protesting that if there are already no jobs, why are you giving more reservation? And this is how the protests start. Anyways. Sir, how to go forward? Do you have a stylus? Okay. Okay, thank you. So the recent turmoil, so I'll be going through the slides also. If you don't understand, you can always ask. But if you have a heavy question and you want me to answer that in detail, we'll take those questions in the end of the session, because otherwise we will not be able to complete the session. It's a heavy session. You need to understand that. So the recent turmoil in Bangladesh resulted in the ouster of the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina and establishment of the interim government led by Nobel laureate Muhammad Yunus. If you go in the details of Muhammad Yunus, you will get to know that he was also attached to the student protest. It's not that, out of a sudden students said that Muhammad Yunus should be our Prime Minister. Muhammad Yunus has also been attached to the BNP. Okay, so the event is considered a significant turning point as Bangladesh history has produced new dynamics in regional politics. As a neighborhood country of India, Bangladesh has always played a crucial role in neighborhood first policy. Anyone, what is India's neighborhood first policy? This is the prelims question, this is the mains question. What is India's neighborhood first policy? The answer lies here only. Neighborhood first. You are considering your neighbors prior to yourself. Okay, so it's something like Atithi Devo Bhava. Okay, that if the guests are coming, we are welcoming them. Whatever things which we have. So the neighborhood first policy. Why Bangladesh is important in the Indian subcontinent? Okay, everybody knows what is Indian subcontinent? Is China part of Indian subcontinent? No, it is not part of Indian subcontinent. Is it part of Indian subcontinent or not? China? Okay. After the class, you can check that out. It's not the part of Indian subcontinent. So why Bangladesh is important being the part of Indian subcontinent? Northeast, okay, okay. Okay, land boundary. Any other thing? Any other thing? Okay, security threats. Okay, anything else? Okay, security threats aside, other important factor. Okay, let me make it simple. Between any two countries, which are the most important things to have a friendly relationship. Trade, very good. Who said trade? Okay, trade. Bangladesh is the biggest trading partner of India in the Indian subcontinent. Around 2023, 2024, we had a trade of around $13 billion. So if you go India, France, India, US, India, Russia, see all these relationships are based on quid pro quo. I'll give you something and you have to give me something back. It's not one-sided love affair. And anyways, one-sided love affair never lasts. Okay. So same thing goes here. You have to give something and you have to gain something. Okay, so therefore it is important to understand the recent political change in Bangladesh and how the Bangladesh change will affect India. A lot of you said the security angle. It's one of the biggest problem we will have. Because in the power today, those razakars which are used in Bangladesh, there's an organization called Jamaat-e-Islami. Okay, this organization never wanted Bangladesh's independence. Okay, it was in cahoots or it was in tandem in power with BNP, which is Sheikh Zahida's. She was also the former prime minister, so Zaleda Khia, and she has been in cahoots with this organization. Now, Jamaat-e-Islami never wanted Bangladesh independence, and they were pro-Pakistanis. Now, the problem which has come is that after this protest, Jamaat-e-Islami is very, very powerful. And it's almost certain that they will come in power. If not them, their leaders. They're anti-Hindu. They're pro-Pakistan. They're funded by ISI. And definitely they will not be working with the Indian government to eliminate terrorists in Bangladesh. Do you think they'll work with us? Okay. So they have been in cahoots with Zaleda Khia earlier. So moving further, we'll go in detail later on that. Okay, so this is the neighborhood first policy. Anybody can speak? Please read.
Policy was introduced and become a key cooperation characterized by concern
Non-reciprocity. Okay, so what is a tangible outcome? What is a tangible outcome? What is tangible? For example, this t-shirt is tangible. I can feel it. So when, and there's a word used, non-reciprocity, which means it's not working on quid pro quo basis. So for example, if there's $1,000 billion of investment, probably India will go and do 600, 700 or 800, not 500 and 500. It's based on the relationship that India is the biggest power in the subcontinent, and as a big brother, we'll be helping you out. So this is the neighborhood first policy. It is focusing on connectivity, economic cooperation, and peace and stability. Why is this important? Neighborhood first policy. Why is India not demanding like China quid pro quo that we'll give you money, but at the same time, we'll take your airports, we'll take your ports like Hambantota in Sri Lanka or Gwadar in Pakistan. Why is India not doing that? Because that was never our policy. We are not an expeditionary forces. We don't go on Pakistani land and grab it. We don't go on China. That does not mean we do not need to take our land back, which has gone to Aksai Chin or POK. That's a separate debate. But anyways, this is the neighborhood first policy in which we go to the country, be it Bangladesh, Pakistan, or any of the Bhutan, and speak to them. But if you see currently, the India is surrounded by crisis. There's instability in Pakistan. There is Taliban in Afghanistan. Do we have good relations currently with Nepal? No. Do we have good relationship with Maldives right now? No. Who is the current president of Maldives? Mohammad Muzu. Okay. So everybody knows that, in these early days of his visits, he went to Turkey, he went to China. He's very much pro-China, as his entire campaign was based on hashtag India out. Right. But eventually he met Modi later on when he realized that he needed money, water, and everything. So hopefully the Bangladesh will also understand that. Is neighborhood first policy clear to everyone? Do you have any doubt what is neighborhood first policy? It's like I am going and helping you out. If you need line of credit, I will give you line of credit. So if there's an investment of say $10 billion, I will do $8 billion, $7 billion. As a break brother, I will be helping you out so that we can achieve cooperation, peace and stability, connectivity, economic cooperation. If we don't do this, the problem is that we are sitting against two arch rivals. One is Pakistan, one is China. If Bangladesh also goes, then we are looking for three-front war. And trust me, guys, we cannot win the three-front war. Forget about three-front, we cannot win two-front war. I'm not demeaning our forces, but to fight a war, you need forces, and forces also need ammunition. Currently, if we go on a war, we couldn't even sustain 2 to 3 months of ammunition. We don't have more than 3 months of ammunition. For that, even if a China goes for a full front war, they also might have 6 to 8 months of ammunition. So if you go on a war, if you have a three-front war, where be it in the terms of cyber, hybrid warfare, grey warfare, whatever term you want to give, it would be very difficult. And when it comes to information warfare, trust me, cyber warfare, we are nothing compared to Chinese and Pakistanis. China is superb in when it comes to cyber warfare. There is no doubt about it. When I'm giving you this information, this is from the legitimacy of RAW, this is from the legitimacy of NTRO. They are far, far ahead. Only countries, I'll give you a congressman in the Senate, the congressman in the America said recently, 1 or 2 years back, when it comes to the cyber warfare, 10, 15 years back, China, we were competing with China, but today the American cyber strategies, American cyber warfare game planning is in KG standards compared to Chinese. KG, kindergarten. That was said by one of the American congressmen. Now, moving forward, if we have a three-front warfare, one from Pakistan, one from China, or one from Bangladesh, it would be very tough, and it will derail our economy. That is why we need to have focus on connectivity, economic cooperation, and peace and stability. Moving forward, whoever comes in the power, like the interim government has just been formed in the Bangladesh. Secondly, after forming of the interim government, even if regressive or Islamic or extremist people come in the Bangladesh government, as an Indian government, as the Prime Minister of the country, do we need to talk to them or not? Yes or no? Yes, absolutely yes. Because they are coming the power not by coup, but they'll probably come through elections, or the army would deploy them, which has happened in Myanmar. In Myanmar also we are facing the problem of military junta is there. So probably in Pakistan is the similar case. So if we don't talk to this Islamic past, if we don't talk to Khalida Zia, if she becomes the next prime minister, if the Muhammad Yunus goes, so why it is important to talk to those people? Anyone, why it is important to talk to those people? Very good. Why? Why do we need to maintain good relationship with Bangladesh? Neighbor first policy, we need $13 billion of trade. See, you might like Sheikh Hasina. Sheikh Hasina might have the relations with India at the times of Nehru's and Gandhi. But you need to realize that this protest, when it started, it was a student protest, and all the people of Bangladesh were involved in the protest. And as per them, it was a democratic protest. There was a protest which happened in Nepal also. And the protest was about removing the monarchy and coming of democracy. Did India support the protest? Yes, we did. Should we give Sheikh Hasina back to Bangladesh? Question to everyone. Okay, the current interim prime minister is asking, please give Sheikh Hasina back, and we need it, and you have to give it back. We are the ruling government. What will India do? They are asking for extradition. What will we do? Then India would be actually on a very tight rope. Because legally we cannot deny. If we give Sheikh Hasina, she gets assassinated. then the entire blame is on India. Currently, the best bet for India is that she gets asylum in UK, Finland, or any of the country, and she leaves India. Right now, diplomatically, we don't have too many solutions. Maybe there are many solutions which I don't know, but probably Foreign Minister Jaishankar sir knows. Right? Not me. Okay. Anyways. Okay. Why did the protest start? Anyone? Anyone? You must have read this in Indian Express, Hindu. You know, most of you are following that explained section of Indian Express. There's a section in Indian Express called explained. Okay, how many of you follow the Hindu? Okay, how many of you follow the Indian Express? Okay, you don't follow Indian Express. Okay, so in Delhi we follow a lot of Indian Express. So Indian Express has a section called explained. So that section is basically for civil services aspirants or any of the aspirants who want to go in detail. So when the crisis happened around for 7 or 8 days, they continuously brought a lot of articles on Bangladesh, the general, the army coups and everything, Sheikh Hasina's regime, why that regime was very good for India, and so on and so forth. So anyways, why did this happen? Anyone? Yes, yes, reservation. Can you go a little bit more in detail? That's the catalyst. When did it start? Anyone? The recent judgment is the catalyst. You're talking about Supreme Court judgment, right? The June 1. Tell me. Try only. No, you're talking very contemporary. I'm talking about the reservation did not start today. It started years back. Think about it. When will this reservation start? That's later, earlier. The reservation will start when Bangladesh gets. It cannot start before the independence. So we'll go into that also. But before that, so the 30% reservation was the final nail on the coffin. The Bangladesh economy was already troubling. See, they were already troubled through a lot of things. There was no jobs, unemployment was high, and economy was not doing good. Economy has gone tanked, and there were a lot of scams also, and the bank debts were also increasing. So in all of the scenario, reservation was added. Reservation became the catalyst, and protest. It was not just 30% reservation. For example, if 30% reservation is there, but say the Bangladesh employment rate is 100%, will there will be any protest then? Okay, I'll explain from an Indian example. Agniveer scheme came. Okay, what was the earlier age of the soldier? For how many years he can work in the army? Anyone? 25, 30 years? Okay, depending upon when he joins. At least 20, 25 years? It was reduced to 25 years to 4 years. So you've been preparing that for the next 25, 30 years, I'll give in the army. But then you get to know only 4 years. And after 4 years, it's dependent upon your seniors to come in that 25% quota. And obviously, when it comes to 25, there might be transparency, there might not be transparency. I'm not getting there. But again, that was the reason the protest started for Agniveer also, because you're reducing the age from 20 years to 4 years. First, is there unemployment in India? In recent days, you've seen there's a lot of protest happening in India also. We saw in Kolkata, it's happening. Before that, we saw in ORN. Why, for protests to happen, it's not about that particular issue. Protest will not happen only for a single issue. Same happened in Bangladesh. The 30% reservation was only the catalyst. If out of those 30% people had jobs, they would not be going in, for this protest. They will never go. But there were no jobs. After COVID, people have lost jobs. And I think, in Bangladesh, they didn't have so much of Instagram so that they can continuously watch reels entire day and pass time or create some content. That didn't happen for them. The student protest against the freedom fighter reservation of 30% in civil services galvanized into nationwide movement due to government's heavy-handed approach. The attack on student by Awami League student wing, Bangladesh Chhatra League, imposition of a strict curfew with a shoot-on-sight orders, and labeling the demonstrators as razakars, a term associated with collaborators during the 1971 inflamed tensions. So they were protesting that please take this reservation back. Even we want to apply for the government jobs. And the government says, you're anti-national. Rather, you're a traitor. Now you're understanding why it became violent. Probably he's saying that please remove 5% reservation. Say he's against reservation, some policy. So I can say that, I don't agree with your view. Can I say that you're anti-Indian for this statement? So that's the exact statement Sheikh Hasina used. And from here on, the protest became violent. If you have been going through the violent protest in the last 2-3 months, at midway, they had become peaceful. The protests were almost over. But again, they were ignited. People say that, there are a lot of conspiracy theories that America and Chinese were also behind this. But again, those are only conspiracy theories, so I can't go much on those. Okay, so reservation system notified in 1972. This is how it started. System was notified on September 5th, 1972, reserving 30% of government and semi-government posts for freedom fighters and 10% for women. How much reservation? Total 40? 40 is gone. Situation after the assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Who is Sheikh Mujibur Rahman? Father of Sheikh Hasina, and he's father of Bangladesh also. What's the other name given to him? Bangabandhu, right? You saw what happened in the protest? The statue was broken. Okay. So after the assassination of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, the founder of Bangladesh in August 1975, the quotas were effectively frozen until 1996 when Hasina became prime minister for the first time. So these quotas were only implemented when Sheikh Hasina was in power. And between this 1975 to 1996, many times army coup also happens in Bangladesh. If you go into the history of Bangladesh, it's very similar to Pakistan. See, if it's a blood, sweat and tear revolution, there's a lot of blood, it will keep happening. Thank God we had non-cooperation. Okay. Anyways, benefit for the freedom fighters quota was subsequently extended to their sons and daughters. So when it's 1975, 1980, still that generation of freedom fighters are in majority. And you will still give respect that you fought. But after think from 1972 to 2024, that generation has become old. New generations are coming. They have already got the freedom. Their birth have been in independent Bangladesh. They might not realize the value of those freedom fighters compared to the generation being born in 1970s or 80s. The reservation continued in the regime of Sheikh Hasina. You're understanding, everyone? Sure? Okay, if you don't understand, you can, ask me a question. Okay, so situation after 2001, after the Awami League lost power in 2001, the process of implementation of quota slowed down again, but Hasina returned as prime minister in 2009, and 2 years later, the quota benefits were also made available to the grandchildren of freedom fighters. So their children, now grandchildren also. Okay, question. Why was Sheikh Hasina allowing this reservation? Which use that? You use the word? Absolutely. Now I want he use the word vote bank. Anybody from you, how was vote bank directly related to this reservation? Anyone? Okay. Awami League. Okay. So something like that. Say a new CM, Karnataka elections are happening, and the current CM or the opposition CM, and he says that, say, 80% of this class or 60% of this class belongs to X caste. Okay, he says that if I come in the power to this X caste, I will give 40% reservation in Karnataka administrative services. Chances are that they will vote for him. Okay, the same was happening here, and specifically in a country where there are job losses, unemployment is high, government jobs are the most secured jobs in Bangladesh, very much similar to India. But obviously in India, we have, a rising private sector, a lot of startups. You guys are in Bangalore, in Bangalore every day or probably every hour new startup is born here. So anyways, after the Awami League lost power in 2001, the process of implementation of quota slowed down. So every time Awami League was in power, that is ex-Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's party, so this Awami League, this reservation was there. Even the top courts, top bureaucracy, all the people associated with Awami League are there. For example, we have Reserve Bank of India, similar bank in Bangladesh. The head are related to Awami League. Who is the current Chief of Army Staff of Bangladesh? Uh, this you should know, na? He was in news. Okay, I'll give you one. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina was given around 45 minutes to leave. You know, the current Chief of Army Staff is also brother-in-law of Sheikh Hasina. Are you understanding the system? It's like Rajapaksha's family. You know, in Sri Lanka, you heard now Naman Rajapaksha is fighting the Sri Lankan elections. So there was, I was taking a lecture on Sri Lanka. So there was a diagram being drawn by, I got that on Google. It was showing Rajapaksha's, mafia. They were in every industry. Every industry, they were in powers. So similar was Awami League. Because from independence, people had, emotions for Awami League that they fought for the, similar to like, you can say, if you go to the initial years of 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, Congress continuously came to power because they definitely fought for the country, for India. Similarly was the emotion related to the Awami League. But over a period of time, people thought that, only people which are associated with Awami League are getting jobs. Not people related to Awami League are not getting the jobs. Understood? Everybody understood the concept of Awami League. Who heads the Awami League? Sheikh Hasina. There's one more party, BNP. It is headed by which former Prime Minister? Khaleda Zia. Where is she now? Rather, I should ask, 30 days back, where was she? In jail. After the ouster of the former Prime Minister, was she released? Khaleda Zia was released from the jail? Yes, she was released. So you can very well understand all the the cases were taken out, and she within 1-2 days of ouster of the former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, she was back again. So obviously a lot of people are supporting her, right? Do you think she'll come to power, or people related to her will be in the power in Bangladesh? 100%. There's no doubt about it. Okay. So withdrawal of the quota in 2018. In 2018, then Hasina government decided to scrap the freedom fighters and other quotas. This was subsequently challenged in the court. Now in the court, the judges are related to which party? Awami League. So it's something like that. You're protesting as a prime minister. Okay, I will remove the system, and I'll say, introduce from this angle. It's not. It's something like that. I don't want to hold my nose from this side, but I want to go from this side. That's exactly what they did. But the quota remained. Okay. So this was subsequently challenged in the court, and the June order which you were talking about. In its June 5th order, the High Court ruled the government's decision was arbitrary, and that the freedom fighters and their progeny remained one of the most backward sections of the country's citizens. This was utter nonsense. They have been in the power for so long. Read this word. What is progeny? Generations. They are saying that generations have been in poverty. Is that possible? It's said that if a person becomes an IAS officer, 7 generations are sorted. So they were prime minister for decades. You are understanding? For example, you become a MLA. Anyone MLA is powerful? MP. Do you think Chief Minister of Karnataka is powerful? Do you think Prime Minister of India is powerful? Do you think Indira Gandhi was powerful? Okay, so similarly, the statement is something like that. To introduce the quotas, it was being used. Now, within 30 or 40 minutes of lecture, I don't know how much time has passed, you are understanding this. Don't you think Bangladeshis will understand this nonsense which is happening for 20, 30 years? They'll understand, na? That, they are not giving quota like this, they're giving quota like this. Okay. So moving further, opposition to the return of 30% quota in the government employment. Do you think there would be opposition? Yes or no? Okay. Say, out of this class, I only say that these front 30 people, they can only sit in the exam and they can only clear the exam. Rest of you can't. What will you do? You start beating them, right? So that you come in those 30. Okay. The protests were led by youth of Bangladesh. They were opposed to the return of 30% quota in government employment at all. The protests were led. Okay, they are opposed to the return of 30%. No, this we have already done, right? We have done this? I have a different digital board. So in that, I don't have to go to every slide. It just keeps going to the next slide. So I'm just getting acclimatized to this one. You are on this? Okay, thank you. So they are opposed to the return of a 30% quota in government employment at all levels for those who fought for the freedom of Bangladesh from Pakistan, as well as their children and grandchildren. Okay, anybody would be, everyone is sure why they were opposed to this quota. You don't have jobs, you don't have startups, you don't have, lot of startups. Zepto, Baiju, Unacademy, like I can't say Baiju and Unacademy are now in profits. Okay, I can say Zepto, Zerodha, or Zomato. Give me 4-5 startups. You guys are from Bangalore, na? Profitable startups, not those Shark Tanks. Like the company is in losses and they are giving money. Okay. So, anyways, digressing from the topic, just for some information, why has funding stopped for startups? We'll come back to the topic. Why? Everybody agreed, like if you go to 2020, 21, 22, a lot of money was pouring since most of the startups are in Bangalore. So was money coming in Bangalore? A lot of jobs were being created. 25,000 to 40,000 was an average package to start if you go in 2020. Anyone? Why the money stopped? Can you raise your hand? Yes. Not political instability. Huh? See, there were 2-3 major reasons. One reason was there that extra people were employed during the COVID. Overemployment. Second, the funding money was coming. So the CEO didn't have to think that he has to pay from his pocket. It was not the profitable money. Third, one of the major reasons, Russia-Ukraine war started. Then Israel-Hamas started. Inflation increased. Chinese, which were one of the major investors, they stopped investing. They are not investing anywhere now because Chinese economy itself is slowing down because domestic consumption in China is decreasing. So, and fifth important reason, when it was the COVID times, the valuation of the company was 3.5x, 10x, 15x. I'll tell you, Baiju had given a valuation of 17 to 18x. Unacademy gave 10.5x. So it's going, I'm going to him, I said, valuation of my company is $1 billion, $2 billion. No question asked, money was given. But after COVID, when most of the edtechs or the startups getting tanked, then the investors started happening, okay, we'll give you money, show us profits. For example, I'll give you 10 rupees, you have to give me 12 rupees. So 2 rupees. So if I'm investing 10 rupees and you make 12 rupees, what's the actual profit? 2 rupees, right? 2 rupees is the profit. So be it Unacademy, Baiju, the spending was like in the recent data around 5,000 crores and they were actually making only 1,000 crores. 4,000 crore was only going in the burning. They were basically trying to imitate the imitate companies like Amazon and Netflix, that they'll keep burning the money, they'll keep burning the money, and one fine day, you know, an avatar would happen and something will happen and they will start making money like Amazon, because Amazon took or Uber took a lot of time to become profitable. But in this business, you have to keep pumping the money. But Amazon, or when it comes to Uber, here a customer will keep coming again and again, again and again. But when it comes to Unacademy or Byju's, the problem is that, for example, you've taken this coaching. The chances of taking the coaching back again and again are zero, right? You will not be, for example, say you are spending 1 lakh rupees on civil services coaching. For example, will you keep spending every 6 months? No. Will you keep taking Uber again and again? Product was different. So Unacademy and all these edtech startups, they copied this formula, but they forgot that the customer here will not return again. The company they imitated was good, but the formula was wrong. And hence, these companies are getting tanked. Anyways, and then obviously because of Russia, Ukraine, the investment stopped. American economy, if you see currently, that is also on the terminal end. American economy is also not booming so much. The money has stopped. The cost of investing is very high. The interest rates are very high. That is the reason the money in startups have reduced. And that is the reason you must have seen the amount of jobs which were generated in 2020, 2021, 2022 compared to 2024 are less. Okay. Some other time we'll have a detailed session what actually happened in this crisis. But anyways, coming back to this. Okay. So moving forward. Okay. Besides the 30% quota for the freedom fighters, there are 10% quotas each for women, backward district 5% for the member of tribal communities, 1% for the person and disabilities, with the taking the total reservation to 56%. Government jobs in Bangladesh are highly sought after for their stability and guaranteed income. Question: if the reservation is creating so much of havoc in Bangladesh, we have a lot of reservation in a country, why a protest is not happening in a country? Something to ponder on. 70% of India is approximately SC/ST. You mean to say 70% of the population in the country is coming from the reserved categories? That means, I think your numbers are wrong. See, you mean to say 30% general people are getting 50% of seats. That means general category is getting 20% reservation. No, probably he's not able to put it correct, because the reservation in our country has not been given on the whims and fancies of a prime minister. They have been given through the constitution. They have been given through the legal remedies. And there is a reason for this. It's not based on some, for example, you guys have read about the subcategorization of SC/STs, the Supreme Court ruling, right? That if a person is coming from the SC/ST families or SC family, his father is an IPS or an IAS officer, the reservation should not be given to him or her. So obviously the Supreme Court has given a judgment on it. Let's see what the central government will do on it. So here the legal process, due process of law is followed. It's not based on the Prime Minister or some government, and the government here is not calling anybody asking for reservation or anybody against the reservation razakars. There is a conversation which happens, there is a legal process, there are legal remedies, there's Supreme Court, and obviously we have watertight compartment when it comes to executive, legislature, or judiciary. How many times coup has happened in India? Zero. And as per me, there will be no coups in India, because we are following the constitution. Even when it comes to the armed forces, even from the forces point of angle, they will always follow the constitution. Moving further, the statement made by the PM of Bangladesh, situation was inflamed by the statement from the Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, in which she seemed to equate the protesters with the descendants of Razakars. Now this is the important line. Razakars were mercenary collaborators of the Pakistan military who led a brutal campaign of murder and rape in which up to 3 million Bangladeshis are estimated to have been killed in the space of few months in 1971. So that was the word. And once she said this, the entire protesters started saying this. We are Razakars. So it backfired. And from here on, the protests became violent. And Jamaat-e-Islami, the organization which I was talking about, they also thought it's a good time to remove Sheikh Hasina. They have their own ulterior motives, okay? They are not concerned about this 30%, 20%. What are they concerned about? To be in the power. Do you think Taliban is considering reservation in Afghanistan? No. Do you think Hizbul Mujahideen, Jaish-e-Mohammed, all these organizations operating, they're looking for 10% reservation that they join Kashmiri administrative services? No. So Jamaat-e-Islami, this was something was given on a platter to them. It just needed the right recipe. They were the salt was added and the protest was started. Okay. So if this was not enough, the violence is now being driven by the wider economic discontent, including high inflation, growing unemployment, and shrinking foreign exchange reserves. Slowing down of the economic growth, Bangladesh made rapid economic progress under Sheikh Hasina regime. This is absolutely, absolutely correct. The only problem with Sheikh Hasina was that from the last 3 to 4 years, her ruling dispensation and how she was ruling Bangladesh, this was very dictator in nature. It was like my way or there is no way. But if you talk about was she helpful in Bangladesh development? 100% yes. Was she a good leader with India? 500%. Ouster of this political leader, is it bad for India? Yes, it is. Because she's pro-India. Because India only helped her to get back in power. And even her father. So slowing down of the economy, this also added to the reason. The country's per capita income tripled in a decade, with the World Bank estimating that over 25 million people were lifted out of poverty in the last 20 years. From 2009 to 2024, she was in the power. So you are seeing a prime minister who actually worked for a country being thrown out of the country. That is actually a very sorry state of affairs. And the people who will come, you will see in the next 2 to 3 years what they will do. We also that, once she was thrown out, there were a lot of killings which happened for Hindus, temples were demolished and everything. It started, right? It was in gravitas. Okay, one news channel which I will definitely recommend you, please follow Palki Sharma. Everybody's heard of it. Wonderful journalist, and she's very unbiased. So she's got a show, Vantage Point. Vantage, it comes on the first post. It's a YouTube channel. Every day you can watch. The show comes around 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It covers, and the most important, she's a very neutral journalist. She is not pro-Modi, pro-Congress, nothing like that. So you will get, entire 1 hour you will spend, or probably what you can do is that don't watch at 9. Watch that show at 10:15 at 1.25x speed. Because if you watch at 9 o'clock, you cannot increase the speed. It's a live show. So you can later on watch it at 1.25x. It's a wonderful show. And if you're still very much interested in, IR, internal security, you can always follow ORF. I'm sure you heard of ORF. And there's one more, it's called ETSA. Now it's called Manohar Parikar Institute. So a lot of senior IPS, IS officers, military generals, they're writing there. And third important source is Chanakya Forum. So these are the areas which you can follow where you get legit data, legitimate data written by senior forces, senior IPS officers, IS officers, army officers, etc. So anyways, however, the pandemic in 2020 and a slowing global economy thereafter hit the garment industry badly. This increased unemployment, inflation in the economy, and the discontent of the Bangladeshi population increased. So there were no jobs, economy was collapsing, and you are saying now we will give more reservation to other people. You're not getting a job, so the protest will start. So it was a perfect recipe. Okay. So I have used a word here, per capita income. What is per capita income? This is MCQ for prelims. What is per capita income? Common word. Anyone, please raise hand. Na? It's a question which can be asked in prelims. What is the per capita income? Rather very simple. It can be asked in SSC exam. Per capita income. You're not raising your hands, na? Yes. Okay. Good. Anyone else? Please raise hand. Anyone else? You were saying? Same. Anyone else? Thank you. That was okay. Anyways, okay. Please read.
It's calculated by dividing by stock. For example, if a small area has a and a total income of 500.
So these are very simple terms you need to know at least. Repo rate, reverse repo rate, per capita income, GDP, GNP. Please, they'll ask such simple statements. You know, this might be one of the statements now since we are seeing in prelims, a lot of statements are coming. So please, your basics needs to be cleared. If basics are not clear and you are, reading Economy by Ramesh Singh, it does not make a difference. Basics have to be okay. Moving further. Eroding democratic values. The parliamentary elections in 14, 18, and 2024 were controversial, non-participative, as they were marred by low turnout, violence, boycott by the opposition parties. And in many places, you know how elections were happening. So there are 3, 4 political leaders from a constituency. The opposition leaders are also from the Awami League. All the 4 leaders are from the Awami League. There is no opposition. So these elections, like America, the US does not like Sheikh Hasina for obvious reasons. So America kept on saying that these elections are rigged in nature. So again, this gives a lot of value proposition to the protesters. Why? So they don't have jobs, more reservation, and even if they want to change the government, they cannot change the government. Because the opposition is neither interested in fighting the elections, there's lower turnout, violence, and it's also been said the elections are being rigged. You know what is elections rigging? Elections are rigged. Like every time once the elections are happening, the elections are over, the opposition says that the EVM was faulty. Okay. So there also they were saying they have ballot papers. So they were saying that there was already a setting to make Sheikh Hasina win. So this was also happening. So reliance on hard power to maintain control. Hasina's government increasingly relied on hard power to maintain control. This created a climate of fear and repression. This is a very important step. She didn't listen. It was her way or there is no way. And most importantly, you cannot remove her also. If you go to Supreme Court, judges are also Awami League. If you go to High Court, the judges are of Awami League. If you go to the Bangladesh, if you go to the governor of Bangladesh Bank, he is also from Awami League. The entire system was created by them. That is why the protests were happening, to remove this entire system. Okay. Increasing economic inequality, the proliferation of bank scams and expanding list of defaulters, coupled with rampant corruption, fueled public discontent despite the overall economic progress. For example, companies like CLC Power, Western Marine Shipyard, Remix Footwear topped the list of defaulters with bad loans ranging from 965 crore to 1649 crore Bangladeshi taka. So economy was also not doing very well. Apart from these scams, if you talk about these scams and companies, these companies were also headed by people who are related to which government? Who will get the job here? People related to So now you will understand why there's a protest. And obviously it came as a platter on Jamaat-e-Islami. They just needed to take out a matchstick and burn. And Bangladesh started burning. Everyone has understood till here. Economy was tanked. There were no jobs. You take any, and even through elections, you cannot remove Sheikh Hasina. That's what it was happening. Okay. Bangladeshi's army role. So similar kind of thing happened in 2007 also. But at that time, Bangladeshi army helped the government. But this time they didn't do. Okay. So General Wakaruzaman, this time he went with the public, not with Sheikh Hasina. Why? Anyone? Why did the army chief go, though he is in relationship, like he's married to Sheikh Hasina's sister, why didn't he help Sheikh Hasina? Hmm. Okay, fair enough. Anyone else? Nobody is speaking. Try, na? Yes. Protests were? Yes. Very good reason. Because this time when the protests were happening, it was not about that 30% reservation only. It was also about economy. It was also about the government. It was also about rigged elections. And if the army would have gone on to stop, they basically, what was the last statement of Sheikh Hasina to the army general? Start shooting. Whatever the protesters, eventually, they are not having guns or grenades, right? You can't kill them. So shoot at sight orders were given by the Prime Minister. And the army denied it. That we will not do that. Because what image it would be that the army is killing its own citizens. And this time they had a lot of gravity in their protest. And that is one of the major reasons. If the army would have killed 100, 200, 500, 1,000 people, that would have been terrible in Bangladesh. Then we would have been looking for a big civil war in Bangladesh. That is even worse than the current condition. And we don't want unstable or unstable Bangladesh. We're already dealing with Pakistan, we're already dealing with Afghanistan. Okay, changing landscape, unlike in 2007 when the army intervened to restore order, the situation in 2024 is different. This time, army now appears to be facilitated the will of the people by removing beleaguered prime minister and restoring democratic process. Okay, what's the one issue the army will face now? Anyone? Why the Bangladesh army will now be vulnerable? Because they agreed to the whims and fancies of the protesters. So they will think that if they have agreed for the last time, they'll keep agreeing for any of the demands which will come, which is not good. And that is why we have a lot of law and order problems in Bangladesh right now. This time now appears to be facilitate the will of the people by removing a beleaguered prime minister. Vulnerability and responsiveness. This shift has made the army more vulnerable and responsive to public opinion. General Wakaruzaman, the current Bangladesh army chief, faces a delicate balance. Okay. 1971 war. A little bit of history. Anyone? What happened in the 71 war? Anyone? Anyone? What's the just a summarized version of what happened in 71 war? Anyone? Why was India helping Bangladesh? Very simple. Guiding purpose? No. Yes. Independent came the part later on. That's no, that's not. That's one of the reasons. But why were they coming to India? That's what I'm asking. Huh? Bengali speaking Muslim population, what were they doing? Exactly. Than anyone else? It's related to Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Can you repeat it? That is okay, but what was the reason? Yes. Yes. Correct. So what happened in Bangladesh? The election happened. Sheikh Mujibur Rahman won the election. And even then he was thrown out. And there was deliberately Pakistan was trying to suppress Bengali literature, Bengali language, and forcing the Urdu language. These were major reasons when the 1971 erupts. Okay, so Bangladesh was part of the Pakistan from 47 to 71, but the people of region felt oppressed by the domination of Western Pakistan and imposition of the Urdu language. And if you see, even when we talk, which was the first Indian state formed on the basis of language in India? Do you understand the importance of language? We all know the debate which happens in the Hindi, Kannada, Tamil, importance of language. Can you understand the importance of language? Anyone, any student who's from sociology, philosophy background, optional. So why is language important? No, why is language important? To connect to people. More examples. More examples. Identity. Who used this word? Yes, identity. Like for example, I used to work for a company called Dell. So a lot of my friends were Kannadigas, and after every word, if they are speaking on phone, that the girl used to say da da da. I never used to understand why she's saying that, right? But it's very similar. In North also we have similar kind of words, and these small words makes you a cohesive society. So for example, recently I went to Tirupati. Now in Tirupati there's a way of wearing the clothes. Okay, you go to North temples, there's a way of wearing clothes. Everything is based on this language. You know, what is terrorism trying to destroy? Identities. What is terrorism trying to establish? Their own identities. What is ISIS trying to do? Creating a ummah of their identity. Identity is very important. For example, say if you don't have a name, if you don't have a surname, suddenly you will start questioning your identity. Language is the most important thing. You know, we interact with that. Suddenly, if I remove Hindi, English, or Kannada, or the Kannada language, and your name, what is your identity? I remove India, I remove Karnataka, I remove your language. I'll say define yourself. Can you define? Now you understand why are they fighting? So for around 25, 30, 40 years, whatever, they have been speaking in Bangla. He said tomorrow Bangla is gone, Urdu is coming. For example, I'll take a simple example. Okay, you already know, if I tomorrow the chief minister says Kannada will not be spoken in Karnataka, only Hindi, what will happen? Protest, right? Massive protest. Probably he'll never become CM again. CM, forget about CM. He is able to live for next 3 days. Okay, so you understand what's happening in Urdu language. So they began protesting against the unfair treatment of Bengali culture, language, demanded their representation and administration, political power. They were the majority people. They said our language, our administration, our government. West Pakistan, one of the students also said they were not listening. So West Pakistan said, or the current Pakistan, let's have election. These people won the election. Even they say, go to hell, we don't care. This is exactly what happened in Bangladesh. Okay. Under the leadership of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, that is Sheikh Hasina's father, a popular struggle for the autonomy ensued, and in 1970 election, Awami League led by Sheikh Mujib secured a majority in the proposed Constituent Assembly for the entire Pakistan, this Pakistan, the East Pakistan I'm talking. They won the elections. However, the West Pakistan leadership refused to acknowledge this and arrested Sheikh Mujib, leading to violent supporters by the Pakistani army and significant refugee crisis in India. Now, this Pakistani army was supported by razakars, and these razakars come from the party or the Islamic organization Jamaat-e-Islami. And that Jamaat-e-Islami is currently the part of student protest. And that is why it is dangerous if they come in the power. Okay. Moving further, in response to the people demand for the independence, the government of India provided financial and military support. This led to a, like, India supported everything, raw, IB, you've seen a lot of movies. Whichever Bollywood movie you want to take, see it, 10% of it would be true. We did support them. Okay. This led to a war between India and Pakistan in December 1971, resulting in the surrender of Pakistani forces. And you must have seen that iconic photograph surrendering. Okay. 91,000 soldiers of the Pakistani army, resulting in the surrender of Pakistani forces in East Pakistan and emergence of Bangladesh as an independent nation. It became a primary factor in shaping the newly independent nation's policy as acknowledged by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Please write this quote. This is very important. You know, this quote itself can come and they might ask you, please write something on this. 150 words, 250 words. Friendship with India is the cornerstone of foreign policy of Bangladesh. So one of the online students has asked why Sheikh Hasina is in Bangladesh. If she is not in Bangladesh, actually she does not have a place to go. She tried for the visa in America. America has already denied it. UK has already denied it. Finland has already denied it. And since Sheikh Hasina had very good relationship with India, even in the past when, you know, her father was assassinated, she came to India before, you know, the power struggle stopped in Bangladesh. Things became peaceful. Then she went back. She fought for the elections and won the elections. I'm answering this query for the online student. Okay. So right now she didn't have, India was her best bet as of right now. But taking asylum in India, I don't think so. India will give asylum to Sheikh Hasina. It would be better that she get asylum in any of the countries, because if India keeps Sheikh Hasina and the current government, whichever the current government forms, it wants the extradition of Sheikh Hasina, India would be on a very tight rope. And if Sheikh Hasina goes there and she gets assassinated, that would be quite a blot on the Indian democracy. It would be a blot on the, you know, India as a big brother. Do you think if Sheikh Hasina goes to Bangladesh and she gets assassinated, India would be responsible for that? Technically, no. But do you think we should give Sheikh Hasina back to Bangladesh? Do you think there's a threat to her life in Bangladesh? 100%. So again, diplomacy is the only key to find a solution there. It's the income which is, oh yes, correct. Thank you, Divya. Thank you for the answers. Please read Operation Searchlight. These are prelims questions. Please read. Anybody else? Please read. You've seen Sam Bahadur? That's exactly how it happened. That's exactly how it happened. So it's the same thing. If Bangladeshi army today would have killed these protesters, don't you think it's a repeat of this? For example, if Indian army, tomorrow we are protesting about, say, something related to XYZ thing, Indian army comes and kill all of us. An army which is killing its own citizens. At this point of time, these citizens were under the Pakistan, right? But they were being killed. The purpose of operation was to arrest or kill the distinguished Awami League leaders, student leaders and Bengali intellectuals in the main cities of the East Pakistan, including Dhaka, to disarm the Bengali personals of military, paramilitary and police forces. So they wanted to stop the revolution there only. Nip in the bud, have you heard of that statement? Before it even starts, let's kill them all. So this was Operation Searchlight, taken by the Pakistani army to kill innocent protesters, people related to Awami League, people, the intellectuals who wanted Bangladesh independence. Clear? Operation Searchlight, simple. Searching those people who are fighting for Bangladesh independence, showing them light and killing them. That's how you can mug it up or whatever. Searchlight, trying to find those people who are supporting Bangladesh independence and destroying them. Clear? Okay. Operation Jackpot. This was an operation done by India. Okay, you have heard of Mukti Bahani? Okay. So, the Mukti Bahani is like rebels. Okay, they are like rebels. Say if when India was fighting, so they are like in a parallel example. If we go to the independence movement, the Britishers said Bhagat Singh is a terrorist. And what would we say? He's a revolutionary, right? So Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, Rajguru, so they are fighting for, yes. And were they ready to take the violent methods? Initially, yes, they were. So Mukti Bahani is something like that. They were funded, they were trained by the Indian Army. Okay, it was a code name of the three operations undertaken by the Bengali Mukti Bahani in former East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, against the Federation of Pakistan at the climax of Bangladesh Liberation War. This operation happens after the Operation Searchlight. After the Pakistani Army drove the Bengali resistance across the Indian border at the conclusion of Operation Searchlight. So what happened when the Operation Searchlight was happening? They started killing. I'll give you the PDF. You don't have to take the photo. Okay. So when the Operation Searchlight was happening, they were killing. Okay. So for example, first row killed, second row, third row. Rest of you will start running. So they started running to which side? India. Okay. A little bit of digressing from this side to make you understand. So say in Karnataka, the population is 100 and there are 100 jobs. Everyone is happy? There are 100 jobs and then people like me from Delhi come and take your jobs. Okay, 10, 20, 30 jobs gone. Still 70 people said, okay, we give you 30%. But suddenly from 30 people like me are 80, but jobs are 100. What will happen? Resources are limited. People fighting for the resources would be high. So now you understand why it was important for the army to stop this migration. Because they were coming to India so that they can live. Forget about finding a job. And that is why the intervention of Indian army is important. So after Pakistani army drove the Bengal, you understood my point, right? Right. So after the Pakistani army drove the Bengali resistance across the Indian border, at the conclusion of, I'm still figuring out this. So after the army drove the Bengali resistance across the Indian border at the conclusion of Operation Searchlight, the Indian Army implemented a supply and training operation for the Mukti Bahani from 15th May 1971 with the goal of sending trained fighters to attack Pakistani forces, sabotage military and economic assets. If you don't understand, I can explain it. Do you understand what we were doing? Basically, I trained him. I gave him weapons. I gave him AK. I gave him AK-47. I prepared him as a soldier. So rather than sending Indian Army, I was preparing the Bangladesh Army, because if Bangladesh Army people win, that's because they're fighting for their independence. We straight away are not going there. So it's helping someone to fight their war. Understood? So Operation Jackpot was started after Operation Searchlight, not before that. Okay, good part. So how the relationship has prospered between India and Bangladesh under Sheikh Hasina. Okay. Sheikh Hasina tenure has fostered a healthy relationship between New Delhi and Dhaka. The India-Bangladesh relations deepened during her 15 years in power. Eradication of anti-India terror groups. She was actually very helpful in that. That whatever terror groups which were operating from Bangladesh, she helped the Indian agencies and Indian military to dismantle them. Now, the people who are coming in the power, Jamaat-e-Islami, were actual people who make those terror groups. So do you think they will help India? They will not help India. At least they might say on the paper, they might say on the front of the camera that we are helping, but actually they will not. So anti-India terror groups and their benefactor Jamaat-e-Islami. So Jamaat-e-Islami is the Papa group, it's the umbrella group. It's like, you guys have heard of Axis of Resistance? Okay. You guys have heard of Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi rebels? Okay. Hamas you've heard? Okay. Hamas is in Gaza, Hezbollah is in Lebanon, then there are Houthi rebels. They are in Yemen. Okay. These three are under a bigger umbrella group which is called Axis of Resistance. This Axis of Resistance is run by which country? Iran. Okay. So these three terror organizations are being run by Iran. Does Israel and Iran have good relationship? No. If Iran wants to fight a war against Israel, straight away they don't want to send their own military. They are using these terror groups. Probably the day we'll have a discussion on Israel, Iran, and the entire Palestine, we'll go in detail. But what I'm just trying to draw as a parallel is that like Jamaat-e-Islami is the Papa organization, umbrella organization, a lot of terror groups are working under it. Similarly, Hamas, Hezbollah, Houthi rebels, they're under the Axis of Resistance. Axis of Resistance is being run by Iran. Do you think Iran agrees that it is the owner or the CEO of Axis of Resistance? No, they will not agree. Okay. Understood the point, what I'm trying to say? What's happening in the Middle East, like these three terror organizations, Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthi rebels, they are under Axis of Resistance, and this is under Iran. Similarly, in Pakistan, we have Jaish-e-Mohammed, then we have Hizbul Mujahideen, then we have Lashkar-e-Toiba, the major terrorist organization. Will Pakistan say that these terror organizations are working under Pakistan? No, they will not say, right? Same thing out here. So here, Jamaat-e-Islami, this is the main organization under which the terror groups operate in Bangladesh. And which country gives the funding to Jamaat-e-Islami? Guess who? Which country? Pakistan. Which organization of Pakistan? ISI. Okay. So like Pakistan is the actual person, behind the puppets. So anti-India terror groups and their benefactor Jamaat-e-Islami Bangladesh, which operated out of safe havens in Bangladesh during BNP Jamaat rule in 2001 to 2006, were eradicated after Sheikh Hasina's return to power. Just imagine these people were in power with BNP, Khalida Zia's party. Day after removal of of Sheikh Hasina, Khalida Zia was taken out of the jail. So you can very well imagine what is coming. Khalida Zia's party BNP is in cahoots with, or she sits with, this Jamaat-e-Islami party. Jamaat-e-Islami Islamic organization, they have all the terror groups which are operating in Bangladesh against India. So if they come to power, it would be very tough for India to have a discussion, and it would be very, very tough that we can actually achieve something with it. Understood, everyone? Okay. So increase in bilateral trade, India-Bangladesh bilateral trade relations deepened during Sheikh Hasina's regime. India-Bangladesh bilateral trade in financial year 2023-2024 went to $13 billion, which we spoke in the early part of the lecture, with Bangladesh being India's biggest trade partner in the subcontinent and India being Bangladesh's second biggest partner in Asia after China. India provided duty-free quotas access to Bangladesh on all tariff lines except tobacco and alcohol under South Asian Free Trade Area. Is Bangladesh a LDC, least developed country? That's a prelims question. So they come under the LDC quota, but sooner, in some months or years, that LDC quota will be removed. So once they are out of the LDC, this duty-free quota access to Bangladesh would have to be stopped by India. So if we want continue to have a very good agreement on the basis of trade, it is important that India and Bangladesh sign free trade agreement. Under Sheikh Hasina, we were almost there to sign the agreement. Do you think these people will sign? I am very sure with which country they will sign. No, Pakistan. Pakistan is, they don't have any money here. They might ask money from Bangladesh. Okay, with China. Okay. And China does not give money like this. Okay. Okay, it does not. Will give you 10 rupees, take out 100 rupees from you. Okay. So China has invested in Africa. So, and China has invested in Sri Lanka also, that Colombo and Hambantota airport. Just to tell you, when they were developing Hambantota airport, do you know how many Sri Lankans as laborers were working in that project? Say, if China is investing in India, we will want, now we get jobs. So when the project was being implemented in China was implementing the project in Hambantota port, it was making the port. How many Sri Lankan neighbors were working? Zero. Zero, absolute zero. And just to tell you, that means Chinese laborers were there. In reality, these were not Chinese laborers. Those were Chinese people who were in jail. So this used to be the room like this. You've seen those big containers, that goods consignment and all. So a bed, a common toilet, and a bathroom, and 20, 30 of these people, they were basically serving their jail time by doing those projects. So even if they get killed, China does not care. That is how they are able to achieve massive projects at a very low cost, apart from the manufacturing angle. You don't need to, this I'm just giving you as an information, okay? I know the person who implemented the project. So even I was shocked. I knew that the Chinese laborers do, because that's what's happening in Africa, but this information was truly berserk in nature. Okay. So increased connectivity, these two are good important point from angle of prelims. Akhura, Agartala cross border and Khulna Mongla port from prelims point of view. Okay, increased connectivity project. I know you guys might be feeling boring, but we have to do it. Please complete with me. Okay. So increased connectivity project, India and Bangladesh developed a slew of infrastructure and connectivity project. Inauguration of Akhura Agartala cross border rail link, Khulna Mongla port rail line in November 2023. 5 operational bus routes between India and Bangladesh, including connection from Kolkata, Agartala, Guwahati, Dhaka. Agreement for the usage of Chittagong and Mongla ports to ease the movement of cargo between mainland India and Northeast. India's extension of 3 lines of credit to Bangladesh since 2016, amounting to $8 billion for the development of road, rail, shipping, and port infrastructure. So a lot of development was happening under the Sheikh Hasina regime. Even if we talk about Akhura Agartala, 5 operational bus routes between India. So we are trying to increase more trade, more economy, better relationship, everything. So good quid pro and quo. Now a little bit of, okay, so this is Agar, please read. This part you understand, right? Okay, the trade will increase everything. But there's one more angle to this. What is that angle? That's okay. One more angle. Very good. Chicken's neck. This is an alternative route. Chicken's neck is also known by some other name. Well, exactly. So this Agartala Akhura railway project is very important. So obviously we have a lot of security on the Chicken's neck or the Siliguri corridor. So this is an alternative route, right? So India is investing heavily in this, but now I don't know this project will get completed or not after the coming of the new party. Though this is benefiting to both India and Bangladesh. So Agartala-Akura railway project is the first railway project between the northeastern states and Bangladesh. It has the potential to dramatically reduce travel time between Agartala and Kolkata from 31 hours to just 10 hours. If the distance get reduced, time get reduced, there is more trade. Moving further, Khulna Mongla Port railway line. So Mongla and Khulna both are in Bangladesh. So we are supporting to create a railway line out there so that more trade happens. Implementation under India's concession line of credit with a total cost of $388.92 million involves constructing approximately 65 kilometers of broad gauge rail route connecting Mongla port with the Khulna's existing railway networks. Why is India investing in the projects of Bangladesh? Anyone? Why is India investing in Bangladesh projects? Let Bangladesh do it. Provides. That is one of the reasons, because if we won't do, China will do. That's one thing. Apart from that, okay, we read something about in the start of the lecture. See, if your neighbors are progressing, you are progressing, both of you together will progress. We already have two enemy countries with us, or arch rivals with us, Pakistan and China. We want to create one more. It's unique. See, if Bangladesh starts improving, it's also good. For example, say in Bangladesh, 50% of the medical tourism which is happening in India, people are coming from Bangladesh. 50%. So if Bangladesh people started making more money, which is the nearest neighbor? See, for example, most of the time the shop which is near to us before the era of Zepto, Blinkit and everything, the shop which used to be near to us, we will every time go to that shop and buy products. For example, say if a mall is 2 kilometers or the nearest mall, you will try to go to that mall and ask your friends to come and meet at that place. Same is, India is the nearest mall to Bangladesh and it's a democratic country. It is important that India invests and this country also rises. It becomes a stable economy. It has a stable government. That is why it is very important for India to have a very stable Bangladesh. You are already seeing what is happening in Afghanistan, what is happening in Pakistan. Just think about if India had very good relationship with Pakistan and China, and both of these countries were like, say, Britain and Germany. Then this area, Pakistan, China, India, this bloc would have been the most powerful bloc in the world. Add Russia to it. No country could have defeated. That is just, hypothetical. Okay. Discussions on FTA. Could you just call, sir? This iPad has got switched off. Sir. I'll call. So the iPad has got switched off. iPad has got switched off.
Yes.
Why free trade agreement is important with Bangladesh? What happens if we have more trade with Bangladesh? We'll both make more money. Free trade agreement is also important because the quotas, which we were giving a lot of quotas to them, that we will not charge duties and taxes. Once the Bangladesh is out of the least developed country status, that quotas have to be removed as per the WTO definitions. It's important that we have a free trade agreement with them. India and Bangladesh had begun negotiation for a free trade agreement, which would be beneficial for both the countries under Sheikh Hasina's regime. An FTA would be reduced to reduce or eliminate custom duties on goods traded between India and Bangladesh and ease norms to help promote further trade and investment between both the countries. And obviously, between two countries, if there's a lot of trade, there's a lot of economy, there's a lot of defense exercises, if cohesiveness of these things happens, diplomacy, economy, defense equipments, obviously we are not buying defense equipments from Bangladesh, but if you take the example of Russia, we majorly used to buy defense equipment from Russia, but today we are also buying oil and gas after the Russia-Ukraine warfare. So if you are buying a lot of things, investing in that country, the relationship between two countries, it improves. It's something like that, say you are in a new relationship, you've just come in a new relationship. So you'll invest in chips, you'll invest in theater, you'll invest in PVR, you'll invest, you have to invest. If you don't invest, it is going nowhere. Probably she or he will go somewhere else. So you have to, even relationship, you have to invest. I'm not saying it's exactly quid pro quo, but if you don't, for example, the question of trust, the question of various things which are involved in a relationship, it's the same thing. You have to invest money, you have to invest to help each other. Same thing is happening in this. So international relations are also like our relationship, but apart from the emotional angle. Okay. So land boundary agreement, this happened in 2015. India and Bangladesh swapped the disputed islands and allowed the inhabitants to choose their country of residence. This solved a major long-standing dispute between India and Bangladesh. This is a major step because India was able to solve a land dispute only with one country, and that is Bangladesh. Have we able to solve a dispute with China? China will never solve the dispute. China loves disputes. So there's a strategy of China which is called salami slicing strategy, cabbage strategy, onion strategy. So it works like in Uttar Pradesh, in North India, we have called something called land mafia. Okay, so they keep grabbing the land. So what China does is that, so China's land grabbing policy works like this. So say this is the actual line which is differentiating two countries. It will go and take a small piece of land. And then they will check that did you guys revolted or not. Once they have the confidence that you guys didn't do anything, then they will take one more piece of land. Then one more piece of land. It keep increasing. By the time you protest, they say this is the new line. So this is cabbage strategy. Like you see cabbage, you have 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer. So salami slicing is like salami is made from chicken. So it's like this. This is the chicken piece, 1 piece, 2 piece, 3 piece, 4 piece, 5 piece. So they keep, that is the strategy of China. You could have asked, sir, why are they not taking the entire land together? If they do, then, suddenly the country was saying, what are you doing? So this is how they start. And they always like unsolved borders because this can only happen on unsolved borders. They are not trying this on Russia. You know what we'll put into, right? Okay. So India and Bangladesh, so India was able to solve, we gave them 51 Bangladeshi enclaves. India received 51 Bangladeshi enclaves and we gave them 111 Indian enclaves so that, both of our citizens, their citizens, they can configure out which part of Bangladesh or India they were staying. So this also happened in the regime of Sheikh Hasina. Energy cooperation, the energy cooperation between India and Bangladesh deepened during Sheikh Hasina's regime. Bangladesh nearly imports 2,000 megawatts of electricity from India. India-Bangladesh friendship pipeline connecting Siliguri in West Bengal and Parbatipur in Bangladesh will transport 1 million metric tons per annum of high-speed diesel to Bangladesh. So we will make a lot of money. Trade. Cohesiveness of trade, cohesiveness of economy, cohesiveness of same security challenges which both countries are facing, the Bangladesh terror groups or Islamic terror groups, to dismantle them. So both the governments were working together. Okay, so this is that line. If you can see Numaligarh refinery, from here it would be transport Siliguri, Panchangarh, Nilpahamari and then Dinajpur. This is how it would be transported. India-Bangladesh friendship pipeline is a joint effort to transport high-speed diesel from Numaligarh Refinery Limited in Assam, India to 16 districts in northern Bangladesh, Rajshahi and Rangapur division with the aid of Bangladesh Petroleum Limited. Good step? All these are good steps, right? So I think these are straight facts, nothing to explain in them. Okay. Defense cooperation, why defense cooperation is important in Bangladesh? This line will answer this. Please read. Bongo Sagar. Do you think Bangladesh is important from the point of view of the boundary it shares with entire Northeast? So if Bangladesh goes against India, you might lose the entire Northeast. They just need to capture Siliguri corridor. The entire Northeast is gone. Anyone, what was the major intention of Pakistan fighting the Kargil war? Why were they fighting Kargil war? What was the agenda of Pakistani army to fight the Kargil war? If they would have won, my question is that if Pakistan would have won, what would be the victory? The connection between Ladakh and so say if Pakistan would have won, what would they get? Siachen. Okay. Why Siachen is important? World highest battlefield is fine. Why is it important? That's the movie one. So that is a dialogue from Laksh movie that you can see. If you get that part, it's not you can do agriculture there, but you get a height, and from that height, you can easily launch fighter planes. You can easily launch the entire jets to dismantle India. And that is one of the reasons that China does not like that the 51 national highways which are being made by the government connecting to these outer ports and cities. Clear? 51 national highways which are being created to these border posts, I mean to say. Not ports, border post. So if these national highways are being made and they're connected to the border post, the maneuverability of the army is very high. So if it takes 10 days to reach, they will reach in 10 hours. And they can easily fight China. Anyways, coming back here. So if the same thing in Bangladesh, what will happen? If Bangladesh goes pro-Pakistan or pro-China way, what will happen? They can easily attack India. They can easily attack Northeast. If the Siliguri corridor is gone, the Northeast gone? Yes or no? Okay, tourism sector. Bangladeshis make up a large portion of tourists in India. In 2017, the number of tourists from Bangladesh outnumbered all the tourists arriving from the Western Europe. Medical cooperation. Bangladesh accounts for more than 35% of India's international medical patients and contributes to more than 50% of India's revenue from medical tourism. Very important facts. When it comes to Indian subcontinent, it's the biggest trading partner. When it comes to medical tourism, it contributes more than 50% of India's revenue from medical tourism. That is why it's very important for India also to invest in them. So geostrategic significance, Bangladesh holds significant geostrategic importance for India as India's eastern neighbor. Bangladesh provides India with access to Bay of Bengal, an important route for trade and connectivity with Southeast Asia. Anything which you want to ask? Please read. Geostrategic significance, geographical strategic significance. What is a geographical strategic significance? Because they are very close to Siliguri corridor. How many states of India share border with Bangladesh in numbers? 4 or 5? 4. How many 5? 4? Tell me those 4. Does Tripura share, Assam, West Bengal, Mizoram, Manipur? So anyways, so geopolitical, a stable and a friendly Bangladesh is crucial for India's security. Geopolitical cooperation on issues such as counter-terrorism and border security is vital for maintaining peace in the South Asian region. Support of Bangladesh is crucial for India's bid for UNSC permanent membership. So most of these points which we have already covered, this is just the summarized version of what we went earlier in the lecture. Economy. Bangladesh is a critical economy for India's exports and bilateral trade. Do I need to explain this? We've already gone $13 billion trade, everything. Deepening of, and then the medical tourism and tourism. Deepening of India-Bangladesh economic relationship is crucial for India achieving its goal under the new foreign trade policy of becoming a $5 trillion economy. See, if a country needs to grow, it is very, very important they have good relationship with its neighbors. For example, you have good relationship with Israel, America, or for that matter with anyone else. They are sitting far, far away. When it comes to your immediate need, whom do you go? You go to your neighbor, na? For example, a sudden cardiac arrest happens in someone in your family. First thing you might dial someone, or you'll go to your neighbor. If you have a neighbor who is sitting in Assam and you are sitting in Bangalore, he might not be able to help you. But your current neighbor would be helping you. You need to have good relationship with your neighbors. There might be some neighbors with which you can't have, but Bangladesh is not one of those countries. This is the country which got independence with the help of India. Moving further, cultural and civilizational. When we talk about West Bengal and Bangladesh, do they share same culture, same language? Yes. Bangladesh has a large number of Hindu Bengali population and has large number of religious cultural sites associated with India, such as Ranir Banglo Temple, Bhojwara, a lot of common things. Even when it comes to Bengali songs, when it comes to the national anthem of Bangladesh, there's so much of cohesiveness with the Indian culture, and specifically I'm talking about the Bengali culture. If you talk about the liberation of Bangladesh, one of the major reasons was Bangla language. Okay. So international cooperation, active cooperation between India and Bangladesh is crucial to the success of regional forums such as BIMSTEC. A lot of question on BIMSTEC and SARC has been asked in the prelims also. So Bay of Bengal Initiative for Multi-Sectoral Technical and Economic Cooperation and SARC. Currently, I will not be going into the details of this organization, otherwise the lecture will, that's not part of the lecture today. So how does the political instability in Bangladesh affect India? Do you think it will affect India? Obviously, you just loss of a trusted ally, yes or no? Yes, there is no doubt about it. India has lost a key partner in Sheikh Hasina, who has been instrumental in countering terrorism and strengthening bilateral relationship. Now, if you go to the previous slides, there we have gone in the detail. How is that relationship? Terror groups, economic integration, the railway line projects, and all those things. Okay, this is the summarized version of that. Hasina leadership enabled India to work closely with Bangladesh on security matters. A relationship now in jeopardy as the political dynamic shift. Yes or no? Jeopardy is in danger. Okay, now it is in danger. Do you think India and Bangladesh relationship is currently or in future can be in danger if Sheikh Hasina is not there? Right? And we have to have a wait and watch situation what happens in Bangladesh now. Okay. Resurfacing of security challenges. There are risk of emergence of security challenge by the anti-Indian groups as encountered during the earlier BNP Jamaat years. Bangladesh Nationalist Party. This party is of Khaleda Zia, who was in jail. Again, I'm reiterating, now she's out of the jail and she is in very close cahoots with Jamaat. Okay. And if they come in the power, it's not a good news for India, period. With the continuing tensions on the border with Pakistan, Indian Army's long standoff with the PLA in eastern Ladakh, this can create a security nightmare for India. I'll show you how. Just imagine. Can we fight this war? We can fight. Can we win is the question. Even if India wins, think about the economic loss the country will go through. Will there be an economic loss? Obviously, if say $2-3 billion are being spent on armaments, they can be spent on social schemes and lot of areas where the country needs to develop. It can be health sector, social sector, agricultural sector. We are talking about doubling the farmers' income. If there's a fixed amount, say $10 billion, which has to go for doubling the farmers' income, but out of that $10 billion, $5 billion goes into this war. And even if you win this war, that $5 billion which has gone, there is not productivity of that income. If $5 billion or $10 billion goes in agriculture, out of that income, if you give to that farmers, new agricultural instruments would come and it would lead to sustainable development of agriculture for future generations. So that is why it is very important that with Bangladesh, we have good relationship. You understand why? So if this is called, in security, we call this three-frontal warfare. Pakistan, China, Bangladesh. So one warfare is the conventional warfare, sending army. But China will not do it. China will do that, plus it will do cyber warfare. Then it will do hybrid warfare. It will start attacking our stock exchange. It will start attacking our nuclear centers. If they start attacking our nuclear centers, say, think about it. You're traveling in the metro, and suddenly the metro stops working, and within the next 5 to 10 minutes, there are 5 blasts of metros in the city. And they happen to some Chinese sitting in China. That is a bigger danger than this war. In Maharashtra, there was an attack on the power grid some years back, 2020, 2021. When the attack happened on the power grid, they took out the sensitive information of the government agency. That attack was done by China. So they're very good in Chinese cyber warfare. So they will be doing cyber warfare. They will be doing normal, conventional. So, and when it comes to cyber warfare, how many software engineers are in the class? Computer science engineers. Oh, I thought 80% of the class would be software engineers. Huh? Okay. But anyways, are we, like, since you raised your hand, when it comes to computer science, are we up to the Chinese mark or the Americans? We're far. Even when it comes to our syllabus, that's also very old, right? So there was a student of mine, so he works for NTR, he works for a RAW. So he used to tell me that when I was doing my engineering, so he was doing electronic or communication, he said they're teaching us 2G and 3G, sir. And when we go to the organization, they're talking about those terms which was never taught in engineering. So education is very much outdated. But in their country, they have progressed onto that much. Okay, anyways, moving further. Jamaat-e-Islami, it is an Islamist organization in Bangladesh. Its predecessor, Jamaat-e-Islami Pakistan, strongly opposed the independence of Bangladesh and breakup of Pakistan. In 1971, paramilitary forces associated with the party collaborated with the Pakistani army in mass killings of Bangladeshi nationalist and pro-intellectual. And these people are now coming in power. So you can very well imagine what will happen. It had allied with the Ziaur Rahman's Bangladesh Nationalist Party, that is BNP. And Jamaat leaders became ministers in 2 BNP-led regimes of prime ministers, Begum Khalida Zia from 1991 to 1996, from 2001 to 2006. And this is the time that the terror groups in Bangladesh against India rise like anything. So when in 2007, Sheikh Hasina came in power, the dismantling of these terror groups started. Now these people are back in power, or they will be in the power soon. Threat to India's connectivity with the Northeast. Will it happen? We just spoke about the Siliguri corridor. A disruption in Indo-Bangladesh ties can restrict India's access to Northeast. The region's connections to mainland India will only remain through the narrow Chicken's Neck. With the Myanmar border remaining extremely volatile, the source of unrest in India's Northeast will increase. Any questions on this? Chicken's Neck. This is the Chicken's Neck. Actually, China and Bangladesh just need to capture this area. This is gone. So if Chinese forces are deployed here, this is cut, this is gone. This is around 20 to 22 kilometers. Zyada nahi kar raha hu. You don't need to do a lot of things. Just capture 20 to 22 kilometers, it's done. So Siliguri corridor, also known as Chicken's Neck, is a stretch of land around the city of Siliguri in West Bengal. 20 to 20 kilometers is the narrow section. This geopolitical and geo-economical corridor connects the 7th state of Northeast India to the rest of the India. Geopolitical, geo-economical, geography and economy, because trade is happening. Geostrategic, because if this area goes out of India, it is the same thing in, you know, you're talking about that movie, that national highway connection would go. It's the same thing, it will happen. Okay. Attacks on minorities across both the borders. This is happening in Bangladesh. You must have seen a lot of videos. Recent ethnic attacks on Bangla-speaking Hindus in Bangladesh before and after. It's not only that these attacks happened after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. They were happening earlier also in that Kali Puja happens in Navratras. That happened there also. So in Bangladesh, before and after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina, will only strain Indo-Bangladesh P2P. P2P is people to people and cultural relationship. Drug smuggling and trafficking. This is a major issue. Why? Bangladesh is closer to a place called Golden Triangle. Anybody, what is a Golden Triangle or Golden Crescent? Please raise hand. Drug cartel. So Golden Crescent is in Afghanistan. Golden Triangle is in Myanmar, Laos. Okay. Bangladesh. Is it an issue? What is the problem with the drug money? Drug money is the pivot on which the entire organized crime stands. It is a money which cannot be accounted. Since drug money cannot be accounted, if it comes in your economy, it will increase inflation. So whoever is your economic professor or teacher, you can ask him that if unaccounted money comes in the economy, how it increases inflation. And this money is untraceable. It is used for every illegitimate act, be it terrorism, organized crime, human trafficking, any of the things that you can think of. So Golden Triangle is a region in Southeast Asia where borders of Thailand, Myanmar and Laos meet at the confluence of Ruak and Mekong rivers. The region is known for its high production of opium, which is used to make heroin. So if it is made here, it is transported from Bangladesh to areas. Now, under the regime of Sheikh Hasina, India and Bangladesh were trying to stop it. Now, the other regime, they are making terror groups. Terror groups need money, unaccountable money. So where would the money come from? Drugs. So there is one more border in the country where we are already facing this problem. Which state? Not Rajasthan, mainly Punjab. Punjab. Anybody has seen that movie, Udta Punjab? Okay. So Punjab also we are facing because the ISI is putting and Khalistanis are putting a lot of money there. So I'll just show you one more thing on this. So this is Golden Crescent. This is Golden Triangle. And luckily, which is the country between them? And it's such a good luck we have that the rivals Pakistan, China, they're also here only. Do you think China will at least on, at Shanghai Cooperation Organization, they might say that with India, we will fight drugs, we will fight terrorism, but they will actually not. If China actually wanted to help India in fighting terrorism, they would have given Aksai Chin to us. Na? They will not. Okay, anyways. So this is Golden Crescent and Golden Triangle. So according to 2007 International Narcotics Control Bureau report, the drug trafficking through India from Bangladesh remains a prime transit point of trafficking heroin from South Asia to Europe. Okay, so basically, I am the Golden Triangle, you are Bangladesh, and this is the entire export to India and other. So you are the transit point from where drugs are passing. So under Sheikh Hasina government, you were helping it to stop. But now, Khalida Zia has come. He says that, we need this money on, international forums and press. We will say we are helping India, but actually we will not. So the problem will increase. If drugs are increasing, organized crime will increase and terrorism will also increase because they'll get money to buy weapons. Right? Understood? Yes or no? We are almost on the end. Don't worry. Did you guys even understand the issue? Okay. So you can feel bored, but it's important you understand. Okay. The trade issue, we've already done this. India-Bangladesh bilateral trade reached $13 billion in 2023 to 2024, making Bangladesh India's largest trade partner in the subcontinent. Duty-free access was provided on the most tariff lines under the South Asian Free Trade area agreement under Hasina's administration. This we have already discussed. Sheikh Hasina's exit could jeopardize the growing bilateral trade we have discussed. India's support for her administration has now become a liability, as her unpopularity and controversial governance might impact India's regional standing. Now, this statement can come as a mains question. Please write it. Yes. Yes, Divya, you're right on that. Science, sir, apart from the history involved, there is no political reason lying around her to. There are many reasons. Diplomatically, there are many reasons. From the trade point of view, there are a lot of reasons. But in the current context, it's actually a tightrope situation for India to walk on that if we keep Sheikh Hasina here, because if a government comes and it wants the extradition of Sheikh Hasina, it would be a tough situation for India to say no to it. Yes. You've written this? Please write. Can anybody tell me why it's a liability? Because she is no more in the power. The party which has come in the power, it has the huge majority support. And India might not like Jamaat-e-Islami, might not like BNP. But if they come in the power, we need to talk to them, right? So she has become a liability. So when a question comes on this, you have to balance it out. Is she a liability, or tomorrow she can come back in the power? Okay. So become a liability as her unpopularity, because if you go to 2007 or 8 crisis, she was popular. And in politics, or even in terms of international relations, there are no permanent friends and no permanent enemies. Today she might be enemy from Bangladesh. After 5 or 7 years of, say, Khalida Zia, she might be back. That's how it works in international politics. Okay. Moving further, free trade agreement, FTA. Okay. Please read. So if FTA is signed between India and Bangladesh, which we were trying, there would be more cohesiveness between both the countries. Basically, once you sign free trade agreement, if they are selling goods in India or we are selling goods in Bangladesh, the taxes are very less, or there are zero taxes, there are no duties. So for example, if your product is of 10 rupees and say earlier Bangladesh was applying 30%, so it used to cost more, now the cost would be same. Okay, so it can compete with the local manufacturing companies also. So free trade agreement is being done between two countries so that trade between both countries are improved. For example, Bangladesh start making cars. The car is of 1 lakh, but there's a 100% duty by India. So car would cost 2 lakhs. An Indian manufacturer is making a car for 50,000. Would you buy a 2 lakh car? If both the products are same, I'm not saying it's a EV or something. Both the products are same. But if our car is of 50,000, they are also selling a car at 51, 52,000, then you might buy the Bangladeshi car. So the taxes are reduced so that there is more cohesiveness between both the countries. There is quid pro quo of trade, and that there's a profitability between for both the economies. I've already covered why it is important to have a stable and a profitable Bangladesh. Why economy should be booming in Bangladesh? Because if people are making money from the legitimate business, they will not become terrorists. Okay. Moving further, geopolitical challenges. Pakistan and China will see the political change in Bangladesh as an opportunity to challenge India's presence in the country, try to tar with the pro-Hasina brush. So they will basically say to all these organizations, Jamaat-e-Islami and the Student Union, that India is very pro Sheikh Hasina. It is against the mandate of students. It is against the mandate of Bangladeshi people. And China will say this, and apart from this, that I will invest $20 billion, I will invest $30 billion, I will make this project. So these people might go to China. Do you think China and Pakistan will try that? 500% they will do it. Okay. So India must be vigilant as Beijing might offer lucrative deals to the new regime, similar to what they have done in Sri Lanka and Maldives. So this new Bangladesh or this new regime might go for these offers, but they need to think about what happened with Sri Lanka and what happened with Maldives. It was some years back only, right? You know what happened with Sri Lanka, right? Anybody, what happened in Sri Lanka? There was almost scenes of civil war out there. The tax regime broke. The prime minister of the country ran. Okay. India will need to engage in strategic partnership to ensure that extremist elements do not gain a foothold and that Bangladesh economic stability is supported. That is why it is very important that the Indian regime, Indian government talks to the current Bangladeshi government, whichever government is formed, the interim government under Muhammad Yunus, the Nobel laureate. The turmoil in Bangladesh comes at a time when India faces challenges on multiple fronts, including tensions with Bangladesh, instability in Myanmar, strained relations with Nepal, Taliban seizure of power in Afghanistan, and Maldives' recent diplomatic tussle with India. Now, this is the statement, full stop. And the question would be, in this context, how do you think India's foreign policy should evolve? Please write. It's a mains question. Yes, Divya, that can be, but I think a lot of options need to be weighed when it comes to Sheikh Hasina staying in India. And we have to currently, recently, the question was asked to Ministry of External Affairs spokesperson, and he said that I don't answer the hypothetical questions. Will he stay in India? We need to sit and, what would be the government approach once in, I think in the next 10 to 15 days, it would be clear. You have a question? How many are preparing for the civil services? All of you? And you're preparing for the Karnataka civil services also? Okay, all of you are for UPSC CSE. Okay. Any one of you has given mains earlier? All first timers? You will attempt the prelims next year. How many of you has public administration as an optional? Geography. Which is the common optional you guys take? Sociology, where syllabus is less. So there is a joke like there's a person who has taken history as an optional. So he finishes ancient history syllabus and he speaks to his phone. The other person of sociology has already revised 5 times syllabus. So that's the entire point. If somebody is good in sociology and philosophy, ethics are also good. If somebody is studying sociology, so there's a theory in sociology that every third generation would be the best generation. So it means that the first generation will work. So it takes the income to say 2 lakh rupees. Then the second generation will come, it will take it to 20-25 lakh rupees. The third generation would be the most creative one. The reasons behind is that, say if you want to become a photographer, the investment in photography is of 2 to 5 or 10 lakhs. So first generation cannot become. Only third generation can become because the parents have earned so much of money. This is just a theory. So sociology says that the third generation is the most successful. Can this be applied on Congress? You can apply. Are you that third generation? Just imagine. So if there is someone in your family or who is very successful, okay, just go to 2 generations before. For example, I'll give example of Roman Seni. Everybody knows Roman Seni. So Roman Seni's grandfather was a sarpanch. So sarpanch is a big deal, right? Grandfather. So sarpanch also gets a lot of funds. Then I think his father was a doctor or some civil servant in Rajasthan Civil Services, something like that. And then he became the third generation. So within 1.5 years of service, he left. It takes a lot of courage to leave civil services. And at that point of time, an academy was just a tuition company and start this company. Whatever happened later on is it's the third generation. When you have a lot of backing of money, when you know that even if this will not happen, I have a lot of money. Parents will take care, or I'll invest, or I have IIMS degree or IIT degree, I'll do something. Then only you can do something creative. First generation doing creative, there are very less examples in the because for doing something creative, you need backing of money. Just think about it. Most of the time it fits. Many times it will not be an absolute theory, but it works. Okay, when you're free time, you can try that. So how many of you will become that third generation? At least raise hands. Yes, sir. Okay. So anyways, you've written this? Okay. Western scrutiny and potential backlash. India's backing of Hasina has created friction with Western allies, specifically the US, who have criticized her undemocratic practices. Balancing international relations with supporting a new unpopular leader poses a challenge for India. Is Sheikh Hasina popular now in Bangladesh? Popular. In the terms, people will vote for her. All apart from Awami League, most of the people are protesting against her, na? So, see, if you are betting on a horse, you will bet on which horse? The one which will win right now. So, India needs to bet on that horse also and this one also. Because in future, she will win. Because she is pro-India. How India, Modi and Jaishankar does it, that's their headache, not ours. Okay. With Hasina's unpopularity growing, India may face backlash from Bangladeshi citizens who view India as an ally of ousted leader. The situation could strain India-Bangladesh relations. This is the exact thing which China and Pakistan will use. And one of the questions on YouTube was also there, sir, why is not that, that Sheikh Hasina stays in India? This is the problem. Because the popular mandate is against her. If the popular mandate is against her and we are supporting Sheikh Hasina, then we are also against the popular mandate in Bangladesh. Now you understand, we want Sheikh Hasina, but we need to support these guys also. So it's a tricky situation for India currently. More Sheikh Hasina stays in India, more problem India will face in future. How it will come out, as I told you, only Shankar can answer that question. Her extradition demand might further complicate this relationship. I've already told you guys. Okay. So we come into the final part of the lecture. Building new alliances. India is maintaining a cautious approach. Most importantly, we don't have any other choice. Okay. Okay. So cautious approach, closely monitoring the situation in Bangladesh while adopting a wait and watch strategy. I don't know what. Like, this is just to write something in English. Okay. So we don't have a choice. This involves assessing the developments and their potential impacts on regional stability. Further, India should engage with various political factions in Bangladesh to foster a more inclusive relationship. So this is just to write in a mains answer. Okay. How this would be done, only the political leaders and the bureaucrats would need. Many of you would become foreign bureaucrats, then, you'll work behind the doors to do it. So this is good to write, wait and watch strategy, potential impacts, because we have to do an answer writing. So these are the pointers which you can use. Yeah. Sheikh Hasina will come back to her son is living abroad. Okay, I think he's in UK or US. Probably yes. Yes, yes. They might come. Not right now. See, I don't know how many of you following Thailand. So in a lot of countries, you know, this cycle. For example, now it's saying that Naman Rajapaksa might win the Sri Lankan elections. If you do go 2 years back, Rajapaksas were out. See, you know, as a society, we always look up, okay, he has done bad, but his son might be good. Then, you know, you go to, just go to your, uh, go to the last 20 years of Karnataka politics. So you are choosing among evils. So earlier I used to say, anybody from political leader, please don't beat me, okay? Okay, I'm just explaining, okay? So first choice is that, you know, which is less worse? Then that stage crosses. Then you realize, okay, all of them are worse. Which is the one which relates to my point? Okay. So if you go rationally, good political leadership, good parties, work for the country, tell me one party in the country. In every party there is a scam. Okay, every party there is a scam. So we need to choose among which is available. Okay. Right. Whatever is available, it's among. So it's a joke. You know, if arranged marriages get stopped, boys in India will not get married. Right? So anyways, India is maintaining a cautious approach. We don't have a choice either also in this. Moving further, India must develop a flexible strategy that accommodates evolving political land. Here, flexible strategy means to talk to Khalida Zia, to talk to BNP, to talk to Jamaat-e-Islami. I'm telling you, one of the most important person involved in Jamaat-e-Islami, talking to Jamaat-e-Islami would be Ajit Doval. He's very good in that. Okay, he would be used in this if they come into power. It should be seen as a supporting expression of popular will in sensitive neighboring countries. Similar thing happened in 2006 when there was a revolution, then there was a protest against the monarchy in Nepal. India supported them. So, for example, India's support to people movement in Nepal in 2006 against the dictatorial monarchical rule and restoration of multi-party democracy. So, in Nepal, what happens? By the time this class, completes, the Prime Minister of Nepal might change. If you see last 10 years, every year the Prime Minister changes. Okay. Engaging with the broader spectrum of Bangladeshi society will be crucial for counteract any negative perception. This is a very important statement. So that Pakistan and China does not say that India is very pro Sheikh Hasina and anti-Bangladeshi people. So that is why it is very important for India to talk to them. So engaging with a broad spectrum of Bangladeshi society will be crucial to counteract any negative perception of India. India needs to move beyond the 1971 liberation narrative. This is important. Let me explain. So since in the 1971 war, they acted as a big brother. Okay, then for the next 20, 30 years, we got you independence, we got you independence. For 4 or 5 years, it's fine. But after that, you cannot use this argument because this generation to whom India helped, this generation is out now. And in 2024, the people, say a person who was born in 2000, he might not have that kind of emotion or respect for India which the 1970s generation had. Yes or no? For example, the actors of, for example, if we go to our parents, they always say, songs were made at our times. You guys are listening to nonsense. Okay, right. So we are always attached to our contemporary times. So this narrative of India, the 1971 liberation, we got to independence, India needs to move from that, from this big brotherly attitude. It will not work in its favor because the current realities of Bangladesh are dynamically changing and they really don't care, the current generation, what India did. So India needs to re-establish the relationship. There might be, a lot of people and 10, 20, 25% which might be in India support for what India did. But we need to accept that today's realities also. Expand the bilateral ties. India should express its readiness to expand the bilateral economic engagement with the successors government. This would be tough, but we need to do it. The temptation to brand the ongoing political change as anti-India or anti-Hindu should be avoided. This is very important, that the current government and the current government dispensation does not say that the people who have come in the power in Bangladesh are anti-India. They, even if they're anti-India, diplomatically you cannot use this language. India should keep the door open for continuance of close and mutually beneficial ties, and India has adopted in the case of hostile regime in Maldives under Mohammad Muzu. So when he came, he only spoke, he was very venomous against India. But today he has taken a U-turn because he needs India. So, in probability, the government, whichever government, the interim government or the government under the BNP, they might also work in our favor. So we, again, wait and watch strategy. Enhancing security measure, India should, do we need to enhance security measures? There's no doubt about it. Since we have to enhance a security measure, we need to spend money. That money could have been used somewhere else. Same question. Okay, so India should bolster its security measures along the border and in areas with significant Bangladeshi expatriate population to address potential spillover effects and maintain stability. There is a need to establish joint task forces comprising law enforcement agencies from both countries to effectively combat cross-border drug smuggling, human trafficking, and illegal immigration. One of the major issues is illegal immigration, which happens in Assam and Northeast. Because of these parties which are coming, they might push illegal immigration. And if immigration in a state increases, I gave you the Karnataka example, right? 100 jobs, 100 people. Digital connectivity corridor. There is a need to establish a digital connectivity corridor between the two countries, focusing on high-speed internet connectivity, digital services, and e-commerce. This can create new avenues for trade. See, this is all good, digital connectivity, which should happen on the borders between the two countries. But how this will happen under the new regime would be a task for the government. These are all the measures which were already in the process with the Sheikh Hasina government. How India takes it forward, that is something to be seen. FTA with Bangladesh, which we have already discussed. Bangladesh is set to lose its least developed country status after 2026. Once it loses that status, so the free quotas and the free, the taxation which has been reduced on Bangladeshi products, that particular free taxes would go. That is why we were doing a free trade agreement with them, so that if we do the free trade agreement, and even if these quotas are removed, it still remains the same. Are you getting my point? So for example, I'm selling something in Bangladeshis are selling something in India, or we are selling something there. So if he's selling something in India, so it's of 100 rupees, there were no taxes because they come under LDC. In 2026, they come out of the LDC. Once they come out, so on this 100 rupees, India would have to apply taxes, and the product cost will increase. But if both the countries sign the free trade agreement, then it remains of 100 rupees. And more product can come inside it, and the trade between the two countries will increase. Okay. Hence, India should finalize a free trade agreement with Bangladesh at the earliest. India must also ensure that the FTA is not misused by China to dump goods in India through RCEP agreement. Very important thing, how China works. So there's a thing called, let us read this. Least developed country, United Nations, please read. Okay. Now you know why LDCs are important. Once the status goes, we would need an FTA. RCP, please read. Okay. Continue. Okay. Do you see this map? This RCEP, this is headed by China. So what China can do is that China makes a good for 10 minutes. Okay. So see, China makes this phone. If India is making this phone, this is of 100 rupees. China makes these phones in bulk and the cost has come down to 50 rupees. Now, since China cannot sell it in India directly for 50 rupees, what they'll do is since Bangladesh is part of the RCEP, they'll dump these goods in Bangladesh at 50 rupees. If India has a free trade agreement with Bangladesh, they can take out these 50 rupees phones and start selling in India for zero taxes. If these phones would have directly come to India for 50 rupees, India would have applied taxes, phone would have become of 150 rupees. But now through this, using this loophole, they can straight away sell it for 50 rupees. What they just need to do is that, change the branding of the phone. So that's the problem. So if we are, signing the free trade agreement, we need to see that we don't get exploited. Everyone understood what I'm saying? Okay. Everyone? So it's important that we don't get exploited. Okay, RCEP we have done. So RCP was also asked in prelims question. Okay. Geopolitical maneuvering. India must anticipate that Pakistan and China will seek to exploit the situation in Bangladesh to their advantage. Do you think they will, use this situation in their favor? And they're already using it. Collaborating with international partners, including US, UK, and European nations, will be the key to mitigate these risks to contain China and Pakistan. India should work with Gulf partners like UAE and Saudi Arabia to support Bangladesh economic stabilization and counter extremist influences. This cooperation can help maintain regional stability and prevent Bangladesh from drifting away from the traditional allies. So India is an ally, so we also need to use the Middle East partners because of the angle of the religion, because of the angle that Bangladesh is also in very close relationship with these countries. So India need to find like-minded countries and contain the government, that the current government, whichever forms, or the interim government, it does not go the extremist ways. Clear? Okay. Consider the following infrastructure projects: Akhura Agartala cross-border rail link, Khulna Mongla port rail line, Maitri superpower thermal plant, Memorandum of Understanding on Blue Economy and Maritime Cooperation in Bay of Bengal, Jayanagar Janakpur Bardi bus railway line. Can you tell me what is your answer? How many C? Raise your hand. Na? How many A, B, D, C? How many? So at least guess. C. Okay, how many A? Okay, B, D, D. The correct answer is C. First two we read in the lecture also. Maitri Super Thermal Power Project is a joint venture between India and Bangladesh to establish a 1320 megawatt coal-fired power plant in Rampal, Bagherhat district. Jayanagar Janakpur Bardi bus railway line is an India-Nepal project. Exercise Sampriti is a military exercise between India and which of the following? So it's between the armies of India and Bangladesh. Exercise helps in assessing the effectiveness of military forces, and it started since 2010. Consider the following statements. India's trade relation with Bangladesh. Bangladesh is India's largest trade partner in South Asia. India provides duty-free access to most tariff lines under the South Asian Free Trade Area Agreement to Bangladesh. India's total bilateral trade with Bangladesh reached $13 billion in financial year 2023 to 2024. See? See? These are all taken from the slides only. Okay. All of them were correct. Which of the following could be the potential consequence of political instability in Bangladesh for India's national security? Revival of India's anti-India militant groups in Bangladesh, influx of refugees into India's northeastern states, strengthening of regional cooperation through SAARC and BIMSTEC. If there is political instability in Bangladesh, what would happen? 1 and 2, obviously the third cannot happen. How many of the following states share the borders with Bangladesh? Assam, West Bengal, Tripura, Mizoram. Of them, correct. Okay, so West Bengal shares the longest border at 2217 kilometers. Tripura, Meghalaya, Assam, Mizoram. You can see West Bengal, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, Mizoram. So previous year's mains questions critically examine the compulsion which prompted India to play decisive role in the emergence of Bangladesh. So if you can see, in 2013, Shahbag Square is in the news. They had asked these questions. The protest in Shahbag Square in Dhaka in Bangladesh revealed a fundamental split in society between the nationalist and Islamic forces. What is the significance for India? Analyze internal security threats and transborder crimes along Myanmar, Bangladesh and Pakistan borders, including line of control. Also discuss the role played by various security forces in the regard. So remember when I was asking you to write that mains question, what is happening with our neighbor? The third question is very similar to that. That was 2013. So obviously with the trend changing, the question level and depth will increase. Okay, so this was a Shahbag Square protest. It happened in 2013. And here they were primarily against the war criminal. Basically this person, Abdul Qadir Mullah and all the Jamaat-e-Islami, they had supported the Pakistani and the Pakistani army at that point of time. So the cases were put against them. The protests in Shahbag Square in Dhaka, Bangladesh, which started in February 2013, were primarily against the war crimes trial of leaders Abdul Qadir Mullah and other Jamaat leaders of Jamaat-e-Islami party. The point was that even at this point in 2013, the entire Bangladesh was divided. Many people were supporting them and many people were against them. So who would be in the support that they should be tried? Obviously, Awami League people. Who would be against? No, the cases should be dropped and they should be allowed to leave. The Jamaati people. So the protester demanded the death penalty for Mullah and other Jamaat leaders who were accused of collaborating with the Pakistani army in committing atrocities. The Shahbag protests have revealed a deep divide in Bangladesh society between the nationalist forces who support war crime trials and want to uphold the secular character of the state, and the Islamic forces who oppose the trials and seek to promote their own agenda. This was the situation in 2013. In 2024, this situation has only increased. Number of people divided in the Bangladesh society are too high now. At least in 2013, there was a lot of support for the Awami League, Sheikh Hasina. That support has also gone. Now around 60, 70, 80% of the people are against the Awami League, against Sheikh Hasina, favor of BNP and favor of Jamaat-e-Islami, which is definitely not good for India. So these are some of the expected mains question. Examine the challenges India faces in maintaining its strategic interest in Bangladesh amid the changing political landscape, which we studied, including the rising influence of Islamist forces and potential Chinese intervention. Islamist forces means Jamaat-e-Islami. Chinese intervention, the trade and everything they can use. In the wake of political upheaval in Bangladesh, evaluate the importance of building new alliances and enhancing security measures for India's foreign policy. What strategies should India adopt to safeguard its interest? Considering the current political turmoil in Bangladesh, critically assess potential risks to India's investment and infrastructure projects in region. You must have heard of a lot of Bangladeshi students have already left and come back to India. Many people, many Bengali Hindus which were staying there, they're also stopping their business or selling their business and coming to India because of the political instability in the country. Considering the current political turmoil in Bangladesh, critically assess the potential risk to Indian investment and infrastructure projects in the region. What steps should be taken to mitigate these risks and ensure continued economic engagement? These are the certain mains question from today's perspective. Is there a difference between these questions and the 2013 question? 2013 questions were very straightforward. These questions obviously demand you need to have an analytical thought process. You need to understand the past, present, and the future, and then only you can write the topic. What happens? What is the significance? Why it happened? What is happening? What could happen? Then only you could write the answer in 150 or 250 words. Thank you very much for bearing me. Okay. Anyone, any questions? Did you understand the topic? Do you understand Bangladesh now? So you can teach this Bangladesh topic to anyone now. Okay. When did Sheikh Hasina became Prime Minister of Bangladesh? Okay. Chalo. Lovely talking to you. Thank you very much. Take care. Jai Hind, guys.